All right. Well, hi guys. Special edition of little crossover episode of This Week in Rockdale and This Week from Rockdale. Alex McDonald, joined by Larry Cox. What's up, Larry? How you doing?
Alex, doing well this evening. We've got a little bit of a political conundrum in Rockdale County, and as usual, you and I can be right in the middle of it as usual.
Well, it seems like I'm coming on here more often than I had planned. But this one's a big deal, and it's worth talking about. So here we are. Let's say hi to some folks real quick. Bill Campbell is watching. What's up, Bill? Good to see you. Clayton Orwig is here. What's up, Clayton? Tina Hobbs is with us. Charlotte Gellert is here. Barry Landau is here. That's who I'm seeing. I don't know if I'm picking up comments from your side or not, Larry. You'll have to. Oh, I guess I am, because there's Jill Oldham right there watching on YouTube.
I don't see anything, Alex, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. There's Jill. If you're watching, say hi in the chat. There's Cheryl Garcia. Ben and Cheryl are both watching. What's up, guys? Good to see you. Let me, there you go.
There we go.
Refresh this. There's Angela's here. Doug's here. There's Tom. What's up, guys? Thank you. Everyone's starting to tune in now. I'm guessing everyone got their alerts a little bit late.
With these crossover things, all that, with going on this channel, that channel, and all that, I think sometimes it takes a little bit of time to refresh.
Mm-hmm. James Corbett's here. Hey, James, how are you? Good to see you. Corliss Turner is with us. Hi, Corliss. Cheryl Moulton's here. What's up, Cheryl? Good to see you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This one's it's an important issue. It's worth talking about. And so, here we are. What are we talking about? We're talking about the, legislation that has been introduced to expand our Board of Commissioners from 3 members to 5 members, to do away with the chairman's position as it currently exists, to replace the management of the county with a county manager, and to have, here's the important part, to have 5 commissioners elected by district to represent, elected at large, but representing a specific district of which they have to be a resident and have to have been a resident for at least a year in order to serve on the Board of Commissioners, so that we will finally have representation in Rockdale County.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about how the delegation, the members that did propose this, came up with the delegate at large, and actually what their theory behind it is, right? So their theory behind it was that these people be elected by district, that they live in a section of the county. You have to live in that district, but they would represent the county at large. But but when they do requiring you to live in this district, then you can give specific attention to that area that you're from, because a lot of times, as you've called it, the commission triangle, Alex, we've got these 3 commissioners now who live basically within the city limits of Conyers, and you've got the whole rest of the county who have nobody who lives in it and really connects or has any idea what goes on in North or South Rockdale, or what the needs are of those specific portions of the county.
Right. You said yourself just last week that one of our commissioners happened to visit a portion of Rockdale County that was unknown and unfamiliar to them, and she had no idea that people actually live. How shocking that people actually live here.
I mean, I'm not going to.
And by the way, if that's not an elitist attitude, I don't know what is.
That was Commissioner Doreen Williams, who is now serving her 3rd term as a post 2 commissioner of Rockdale County, and was unaware of one of the largest subdivisions in Rockdale County.
Yeah. And it doesn't surprise me, because they represent the city of Atlanta. They all live within, a couple of miles each other in city limits, and they represent their friends' interests. And that area in general. And the rest of the county, it's not even secondary. It's not even tertiary. It's just, it's a burden. The rest of those peasants out there with opinions, why can't they just shut up?
It was like a few weeks ago when the chairman went on one of those tirades about those negative people that have these negative input and don't agree. Basically, was anybody who didn't agree with him had a negative attitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you didn't agree with him, you had a negative attitude.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this legislation. And I'm going to go out on a limb and I had already gone out on a limb and assumed that the current Board of Commissioners did not support this legislation simply because of what happened the last time. And I'm assuming my assumption's correct. This time around is no different. And based on some of the conversations that we've heard about, emails that have gone out, I think it's a safe bet that they don't support it this time around, right? They don't support the people of Rockdale having representation, is what that means. Because right now they love the system the way it is. I'll give you, I sent an email to them last week. I never received a response from any of them. Not that I expected to. And quite frankly, to this email, a response wasn't necessarily required. But I didn't receive one. If you're one of these people that actually emails the Board of Commissioners and you get a response, consider yourself lucky and in their good graces. Because if you're not going to hear from them. And so I am completely unrepresented in Rockdale County. If I have a problem, I don't know who I go to. The chairman's fond of saying, come bring me your problems, come to me. He's fond of saying it, and I imagine he responds remarkably well to his friends and to his supporters. Doesn't respond to anything I've ever sent. Don't know if you get responses from them, Larry, if you ever send an email to the Board of Commissioners. I don't know who does. I don't know who doesn't. It's kind of irrelevant. This new system will tell me exactly who I go to. The representative that's elected to represent my district will have no option but to take responsibility or to respond to my questions, concerns, or even kudos, congratulations. You know what I'm saying? Right now, none of them have to. None of them have to. Send them an email. They can brush it off onto each other. They go, well, I didn't respond. I thought one of the other two would have. Those days will end when we have somebody that's elected to represent our district. We will know who to hold accountable when it's time to hold people accountable. We don't have that right now.
Well, Alex, you're right, and they start this thing about Rockdale being so small that's too many. But just think about it. We've got 6 councilmen that represent the city of Conyers. We have 7 Board of Education members that represent the Rockdale County Board of Education.
Right.
We have 3 committees. There is no county that has the population of Rockdale County that has less than 5 commissioners. You've got counties that have 10 and 12,000 people that have 5 to 7 commissioners in it, Alex.
Right.
5 to 7, 10 to 15,000 people. And one of the scare tactics they've already started using. The other night on the town hall, when Representative Taylor was talking about the bill and explaining it, somebody did ask about if it was going to cost more to do it. And we always get this propaganda from the board of kids, but they're hitting this one strong this time. They told the delegation that there would definitely be a tax increase and a millage rate increase if this legislation passed.
Before you get into the numbers, let me say something, because listen, my title for this show was a little bit clickbaity, right? Commissioner lies in desperate bid to keep hold of power. I say a little bit clickbaity because that is not necessarily a lie, but it's selective misinformation. Now, the chairman likes to talk about people spreading misinformation, and I've shown you over and over again how it's actually the county that do it, and they love doing it. And the only reason they continue to get elected is through misinformation. This transition, before Larry gets into actual real world numbers, this transition will cost them as much or as little as they choose. If they choose for it to cost $500,000 and to require a millage rate increase, then that's on there. That's on them. Because it certainly doesn't have to, as Larry's about to show us. What are the actual numbers, Larry?
Well, I'm going to use some numbers that come into play because there's legislation introduced now that'll give the judges a raise. And Senator Anderson amended the legislation that was introduced by Representative Carter to take out an automatic raise that the commissioners would get in conjunction with the percent raise they automatically will get if the judges get a raise. So they won't get this other stipend that Representative Carter's legislation had because Senator Anderson took it out. But let's just go and say this legislation passed, the judge raise goes into effect. A Superior Court judge will then be making $186,000. The legislation, as it reads, says that a commissioner will get 16.5%. So that would be a commissioner would be getting $36,000. Okay, so the chairman would receive around $136,000. So if you do 136,000 and the other two get 36 times 2, that would be the total salary for a 3-person commission in 2024 at $196,000.
Well, now, let's say this. So 196 as we currently stand.
As we currently stand.
With a 3-member board of commissioners.
With a 3-member board of commission with the judge legislation passing, which I think it will.
Okay.
So, and then you've got, let's just say we get this legislation and we have 5 part-time commissioners that make $36,000 each. That's right around $180,000 salary for 5 commissioners. So take 196, subtract 180, and that will be a savings of $16,000 if we go from 3 to 5.
Okay, there's some additional cost in there for what you said. There's some stipends and stuff like that. Because if you take the actual salaries, which is the $36,000 odd, it actually comes out to $150,450, which is $40,000 less than we're currently paying. But there's some stipend money included.
Yeah, there's some other money in there that makes it go up, and some educational funding and stuff that's in there. But that's still less.
Yeah, just base salaries is $40,000 less. Base salaries with the stipends is still less money. Still less money.
Still less money. And then there's additional savings there. But now the chairman has this expensive SUV. There would be no need for an SUV
that
for
goes
them.
away.
That goes away. You do away with the vehicle expense. You do away with the insurance and the fuel cost for that. So, and then this legislation requires a county manager to be hired. And if the legislation actually has the credentials a minimum credentials this individual must have. So it's going to make sure they're qualified to hold the position.
Yes.
Okay. So this person, and then this is another missed thing that the Commissioner Washington, she's been telling people this position is going to be over $200,000. I did a little research. 125 to 150 is the average pay of a county manager in the state of Georgia.
Okay.
So, and that is actually in the range that the current chief of staff.
Yep.
So that is just a tit for tat. That's a switch. Yep. You do not add any additional cost to the Board of Commission budget because that money is already budgeted.
Yeah.
So
what we do save though are the commissioner's staff. Right. The chairman has a rather substantial staff. Now, some of those positions will naturally migrate over to supporting the county manager, but a number of those positions can be removed. They can go. They can be stricken from the budget. and we will experience cost savings there. So yeah, when these commissioners are out there telling you this, and when they're going in front of the state legislature and telling them this is going to cost us X amount of dollars and require a millage rate increase,
That's
they're
extortion.
lying.
They're extorting.
Lying.
They're lying and extorting is what they're doing.
Yeah.
That they're trying to intimidate. But well, let's just say
they're using intimidation and fear is what they're doing. And then this is how Oz Nesbitt governs. He governs through intimidation and fear. And when that doesn't work, he ignores the will of the people entirely anyway, goes to the legislature, sneaks behind everybody's backs, and gets something like the PFA done.
Yep. So let's just say, this happens, and you've got the county manager, and you're right, Alex. Those positions that would now be dedicated to the chairman would then be allocated over to the chief of staff, or not chief of staff, but the county manager. And then some of the positions that we have these liaisons, and they're there because these three people supposedly can't talk to each other, which we know they really do. Anyway, they really talk to each other. So let's pretend they don't. So, but now we don't even have to pretend, and that illusion goes away because they can have one-on-one conversations. So there's no need for liaisons anymore.
Yeah, none of the liaisons need to be hired. But the reason for that are the sunshine laws that we have 3 commissioners right now, and 2 constitute a quorum. And they can't have any meetings that constitute a quorum that are away from the public. That's why they can't do that, or supposedly can't do that right now. But with 5, that means 2 of them can get together without having a quorum and discuss whatever they need to discuss. So by liaisons.
By liaison. So when they say, and you're right, Alex, exactly. When they say that they would have to, no, they would only raise it if they wanted to, and not because there would be no necessity to do it, because this is the perfect storm to actually be able to decrease the Board of Commission
Absolutely.
budget. Really,
it would
be perfect
purely,
storm to be able to do it.
Yeah, it would be purely out of spite. Just like when Commissioner Washington got all spiteful that one time and threatened to remove the host, which obviously she can't do, but she threatened to. You remember that, Jim?
I remember. It was
amazing.
Alex, also, when we look at what this legislation would do, this legislation, it takes away that power base that these 3 commissioners have, and it dilutes the authority of the commission. So, and it also, you don't have this all-powerful chairman running the day-to-day operation. You've got a bureaucrat. Now, that bureaucrat is following the direction of the commission as a whole, but you do not have that elected official there intimidating and being that overlord.
And this bureaucrat will actually have to be qualified to do the job, unlike the car salesman that we have, former used car salesman that we have doing the job currently. We would have somebody actually qualified taking proposals and ideas and guidance to this Board of Commissioners, and instead of whatever it is we're doing today, which is ridiculous. What they're doing, Larry, and I this is so important that people remember this. What they're doing right now is using fear, intimidation, and spiteful tactics, threats of retaliation, to prevent the voters of Rockdale from getting the districted, accountable representation that they deserve. That's what this Board of Commissioners is doing by coming out against this the way they are.
Oh, they're even doing one other tactic. They're actually using the tactic and behind the scenes telling people that this is a way for white Republicans to get back in charge of Rockdale County.
Okay, well, let's set this record straight. First of all, introduced by Rhonda Taylor. Last time I checked, Rhonda was a black woman. Last time I checked. Second, Rockdale County is 86% minority, 86%, something like that.
It's close to 70.
70. Okay. 70%. Listen, I personally think we will end up with 5 black representatives. I have absolutely no problem with that because I'm not a white supremacist. What I want is somebody that represents me. I don't care what color they are. It doesn't matter to me
And I
in the
don't
least
care
bit.
that I want someone to represent me in my area, and I want them to be qualified. And I don't care what
Right.
racial
Right.
background they
Again,
have,
that's
ethnicity. I don't care. It
yeah,
is irrelevant.
it's a,
Irrelevant to me.
yeah, that's a fear tactic
It's a
is
fear
what that
tactic.
is.
So so
It
so
has
so
no
then,
basis in reality. It's simply misinformation, lies, and a fear tactic. But
so
this is,
so
again, this is how this current board of commissioners operate.
So I want to make another point too. Let's just say that they would increase the budget $500,000 in doing this. I want you all to know that that would be less than a half a
Still worth it.
percent,
Still
less
worth it.
than a half a percent of the total budget. Now, let me tell you, this commission, Alex, since 2016, roll that beautiful bean fudge or
Oh, I
whatever.
wish I
But
should have.
tell them how much of a percent we've had in the increase of the budget since 2016 to now.
I am
Didn't it
not
go like from
prepared.
56 million to like 94 million?
Yeah. Yeah. Since Oz Nesbitt took over, it
And
has
what
gone from
percent
like
is that,
56
Al?
to, I mean, shit, it's like 40 something percent. I wish I had it ready. I have a spreadsheet with every
Yeah.
budget from every year, which I bring up on screen every now and then and show folks. Yeah, no, this board of commissioners have increased the budget from, like Larry says, from like 56 million
It's
to
just under 50%.
just, yeah, up to almost $100 million. The one of the largest expansions of local government we've ever seen. They're about to consider the fact that I just got a news alert that Credit Suisse is about to get bought out by another bank for $3.2 billion. Our banking system is on the verge of collapse, Larry, which our economy. Listen, I don't know if I talked about it on this show before, but I said 18 months after the eviction moratorium is lifted, where our economy is going to be in dire trouble. That was the end of that 18 months hit the end of the last week of February. The following week, 3 banks collapsed. Credit Suisse is being brought out to avoid a collapse, to avoid a failure. We're on the brink of an economic catastrophe, and yet this board of commissioners is following through with a plan to issue hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. They're still moving forward with that. All the writing is on the wall, Larry. All the red flags are flying. All the signs are there for them to look and say, you know what? This is a really bad time to be doing this. This is a really bad time to be issuing this debt, especially when you look at where interest rates are right now. It's going to cost over 40 years. Without knowing the interest rate, it's hard to say.
It's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, going through a depressed economy that we're on the hook for. They have
current mismanagement of funds.
They have no clue.
The financial literacy of this board is not where it should be.
And that's our finance director telling us that.
Former finance director.
Former finance. He was fired. Well, no, actually he left, but he's
let's get this straight. He's one of 25 directors.
Yeah.
Who has left employment with Rockdale County in the last 30 months.
Left employment.
25 directors have left the director positions.
Yeah. But can you guess why he left?
The financial literacy of this board is not where it should be.
Draw your own conclusions. This legislation is imperative. In my opinion, it's imperative. Even if it costs, even if it does, even if they're that spiteful and that vindictive that they do whatever they have to ensure that it costs $500,000, it's worth it.
It's worth it. But it would be less than 0.5% of the total budget, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys don't sneeze at raising 5% on anything.
Yeah. In fact, it will be the savings that they are able to make by passing this legislation will be the $500,000 that they claim it's not, folks. It's not going to cost that. Only if they want it to. Simple as that. And it's a threat. It's a spiteful move to try and scare people into opposing this legislation. And that's where we're at right now. We have to start reaching out to people because
we're going to talk about the point where the legislation is now, that we have 2 House members that have signed on to it.
Right.
Rhonda Taylor, who sponsored it, Angela Moore, who co-sponsored. Both of them have signed on to the legislation. We need one more signature into the House, and we either need Doreen Carter or Deshaun Kendrick to sign that legislation by Tuesday evening, or the bill dies this session. But it's not totally dead. It would be alive for next year. It would just change how they would have to write the bill, and unfortunately, we would have a chairman for 4 more years, right, if this bill gets delayed. But this is my problem with this, Alex. They can't really give me a good reason why they won't sign on to a bill that they don't vote up or down. By them signing on, the legislation doesn't pass. It just goes to a vote this November for you and me and every Rockdale County citizen to decide if they want to vote to have 5 commissioners or not. The delegation isn't deciding that. They're just deciding if they're going to let you and me have the right to decide if we want 5 commissioners. Now, what does it not sound wrong when we have a group of legislators who are refusing to let the citizens of Rockdale County have a say in their own future?
Right. Hold on caller, hold on 1 second. I'm going to try to get this over to the board. So real quick, I want to point out that the way I read the legislation, I don't see where it's calling for a ballot measure, but you've been involved in this, so I'm going to defer to you on that.
And that was even in the town hall, and the legislators themselves all did agree, all did confirm that it was a ballot initiative.
Okay. Yeah, the way it's section 2 of the bill, if anybody wants to actually read the bill, and it talks about the commissioners being elected for their initial term in November of 2024. So, but it does, like I said, didn't say anything about it being a ballot measure, but it should be. Let's see if this caller's on the line. Caller, are you there? No, it's not coming through to the mixer for some reason. Do me a favor and call me back and let me try something. Thank you. Unless they'd already hung up. I'm not sure. There we go.
They may have.
Yeah. Hey, you're live on the air. Who do we have? You're live on the air. Who do we have? Oh. Hold on. I say you're live on the air. You weren't. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Do me a favor. Start from the beginning because you got cut off.
Okay. Would the new county, under this legislation, would the new county manager be required to live in Rockdale?
And by the way, turn the radio down in the background. Don't listen to me talking there. Listen to me on the phone. Larry, would the county manager be required to live in Rockdale?
I did not see that in the legislation, but that was talked about on the call the other day, and the legislators did say that the legislation still could be amended to include that if necessary.
Okay.
So I would want that personally.
I mean, in an ideal world, yes. In an ideal world, I would want all county employees to be residents of Rockdale, but this isn't a, you know how that is.
Well, I personally would like it, but I do know that there is state legislation actually, Al, that there's state law that actually says you can't do that. And I did see the law. So there is actually a state legislation that says you can't mandate residency. So they would have to do some tweaking to some legislation, but there's still nothing to prevent you from not hiring someone.
Well, here's the thing,
that doesn't live in the county.
Hopefully, like I said, we're replacing a used car salesman with a qualified individual. Where that qualified individual comes from, I think, is far less important than their actual qualifications. And, should this individual decide they want to move to Rockdale County, then that's all well and good. I wouldn't be opposed to a package to assist them in moving to Rockdale. To get them into the county so that they are actually living under their under the policies that they implement. But where the person is hired from, doesn't really matter to me. It will be a qualified individual at the end of the day. And it's like Catherine says, beggars can't be choosers. So in an ideal world, sure. We don't live in that world. I'd rather have the competent, qualified individual rather than having to, just deal with whomever because they happen to live in Rockdale, if you know what I mean. Do you have contact information for the two representatives that are currently holdouts?
What we're doing is we are actually the Rockdale Voter Group. We, knowing that we had to get two people, that one of these two people have to sign on to this legislation by Tuesday evening, we have started a petition on the Rockdale Voter website. We've sent letters out from the Rockdale Voter informing people that they can go on that website and do the petition, and it will automatically be sent to all 5 members of the Rockdale County Legislative Delegation. Then also, what we have also, Alex, is we were able to put together a town hall in a very short manner. So that the town hall is going to be tomorrow night at the Life Church Christian Center on 2009 Hours Drive Southeast in Conyers, Georgia. It was very difficult to put this event together in that short of a time period. We have had a lot of interest in this town hall. We've had a lot of citizens saying they're going to come. I do not know if we're going to get any of the legislators to come to the town hall, but there will be, I think, a packed out house at that town hall discussing this potential legislation for Rockdale County. And a lot of people have been asking, why wouldn't the legislators sign on to a bill that doesn't pass it up or down. It just lets me and you vote on it in November. And a lot of people are having a hard time understanding why a couple of legislators would not want me and you to have a say in
agree,
our own decision.
I agree, especially when the sponsor of the legislation actually lives in Rockdale. She
only of one of 5.
She understands better than any of them the needs of Rockdale County. And if she's sponsoring it, sure, you would expect the others to, especially if it's simply going to a ballot measure, to let the people of Rockdale decide. Then you would absolutely expect them to go along. But they think they represent the Board of Commissioners, Larry. They don't think they represent the people of Rockdale.
That was evident with the PFA passing.
Right.
And that should have been very evident to the voters of Rockdale County when that PFA passed. They bypassed because the citizens spoke.
We
clearly.
voted it down.
We spoke clearly on many different ballot measures, on the bond initiative itself in 2018, and this delegation got thousands of emails last year telling them not to vote for the PFA.
Right.
And they ignored the will of the people. And just like Deshaun Kendrick on the phone on the town hall the other day, I'm going to call her out on it because she made the comments. I mean, in type in there that she's new back to Rockdale County and doesn't really know the issues. And at this time, she didn't think she could sign it until she gathered information. So I asked her, what information do you want? We'll be more than glad to get it for you. She says, I'm in the process of gathering. Well, how are you gathering it?
Right.
Okay. Then I said that if you look at ballot questions that were asked in 2022, the questions and answers were sufficient evidence to show the direction that the citizens of Rockdale County think the Board of Commissions should go. And that's factual.
It's a no-brainer. Do you want a representative? Do you want a locally elected representative that is accountable to you? Or do you want the current system of unaccountability? That's the question. And any elected representative that cannot answer that question is not serving you to the best of their abilities. Plain and simple.
Well,
and
you know,
and people that if this doesn't get passed, then the next course of action needs to be making sure that those two never get reelected again because they don't serve their constituent. Because that's what this is about. This is about serving your constituents. And the people of the voters, the taxpayers of Rockdale want this.
Well, there's one of the legislators in particular, and the Voices for Rockdale put some numbers out. And Representative Carter, if Rockdale County would turn on Representative Carter, she would not win re-election.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the numbers they're just there that show you that if she doesn't carry Rockdale County, she doesn't win re-election.
Yeah.
So
wasn't it Doreen Carter that came to the town hall meeting we had? What was the last one we had?
It was about the we had about the
it was about the PFA.
It was the senior exemption and the PFA.
Yeah, not a
and
single person.
And we got the senior exemption at that.
Yeah, point. And that room was filled with to allay Oz Nesbitt's fears. That room was a demographic representation of Rockdale County. It was majority people of color. Not a single person there supported the PFA. And yet Doreen Carter still voted for the PFA. What the people want doesn't matter to her. If you want it to matter to her, you've got to contact her now, before Tuesday, before Tuesday at 7 p.m.
You can go to the rockdalevoter.com. You go to the website. You click on petitions. You click on that petition for the 5 commissioners. You fill out the fields, and Doreen Carter, Deshaun, all 5 of them will get an email. And trust me, you've been doing that, Rockdale County, because we track it at the Rockdale Voter. You have been, and I just looked at my phone a minute ago, and while Al and I've been on the phone, 10 more people have went onto that website and sent those emails. So Rockdale County, you are showing up and showing out. You are sending those emails. But we don't know if they're doing any good, because we did the same thing against the PFA and we were ignored. But right. I think that this might be something special that's going on right now. I think there are political events, and there are events that go on in the life of a county, in the life of individuals that are catalyst. It's the spark that ignites something. Mm-hmm. And I believe this could be an ignition event. If these delegates don't carry out the will of the people, at some point, the people will have had enough. They will turn on those individuals that are elected to office, and they will replace you. If this legislation doesn't pass this session, and I don't care that it'll carry over to next session, I'm going to do my best to help get out of office anyone who did not support this legislation.
Yeah, because
they're not representing the best interest of my county, and they're not representing the best interest of Rockdale County.
Right. Donald Ferguson asks if the financial forensic audit was completed. It was never even started, Don. Wasn't even started, let alone completed. We were promised it, but it never came.
Alex, we hear you loud and clear.
We hear you loud and clear.
Isn't that what we hear you? Now, I think I've talked about this on the show. The terminology and the definition between hear and listen. Hear is just the ability to acknowledge sound. Mm-hmm. It's an automatic response. If your ears work, then you hear sounds.
Right.
But to listen means that you take that sound and you put a composite together of the understanding of what you heard, and you rationalize.
Right.
What you realize is these individuals hear sounds. They don't listen. And that's the key element here. And because their actions actually show you that they've never listened to one thing that you, the citizens of Rockdale County, have ever said.
Right. Yeah.
I think this could be that ignition point, Alex. I think this could, because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't look to get that third signature. I don't think they'll do it. But we've got to go through this process. We have to fight. We have to show them that we do have the support in Rockdale County. I look for there to be an overflowing room tomorrow night at that town hall. But I think these representatives will ignore the outpouring of support, and they will ignore the citizens of Rockdale County one more time, just like they did with the PFA
Of
legislation.
course, they ignored us with the PFA.
But it needs to happen, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
The people of Rockdale County need to see that these House members are not representing you, and they don't care about you because they don't live in Rockdale County.
Well, they love the status quo. They don't. The whole key to this is they don't want us to be represented. They don't want us to be able to go to somebody who's accountable to us. They love the system the way it is. This board of commissioners, what we currently have, do you think they want to be accountable to anybody? Do you think they want to be transparent with anybody? Of course they don't.
Well, no. Well, you got one of them's biggest gripe is, I'm not going to share an office with anybody.
Right. And none of our other representatives do either. That's why there's legislation currently going through to hide their details from any public tax database, so that we don't know if they're cheating on their taxes, so that we don't know if, for example, they happen to have 2 homestead exemptions.
We don't know that they're a pedophile or whatever.
Right. And it would protect every elected representative in Georgia, because they love not being accountable to anyone. And if you don't like that, this is how we change it. Go to the rockdalevoter.com and flood their email inboxes. Not just once, do it over and over and over. Once isn't enough. Once they can say, I didn't get your email. If you do it 10 times, it's a little bit more difficult for them to say, I didn't get your email. So if you've already been to the rockdalevoter.com, go again. And Larry's going to watch the numbers right now while we're live. Head over there. Keep us open, but open another tab. Head over to the rockdalevoter.com and go through the process again. Because one isn't going to be enough to send a message to these people, because they love not being accountable. They love it. And they want to keep that system in place for as long as they possibly can. Our board of commissioners want to keep that system in place for as long as they possibly can. We have an opportunity to change that, and to actually elect people that are accountable to us on a district by district basis, that understand the needs of our district, that understand the needs of the particular schools in our district, that understand the needs of businesses in our district, and can take those reports back to the full board. Right now, we have none of that. We don't have a person you can go to if there's a problem that you need addressed. We don't have it, because the ones we currently have will pass the buck.
While you and I have been on air, 21 people have went and done that.
Let's keep those numbers going.
This is like a telethon.
Yeah, let's keep those numbers going. The rockdalevoter.com. Head over there and send another email. Send another.
So, and I'll let you know, today, we sent an email out yesterday from the Rockdale Voter informing people of the town hall. We sent an email out today telling people that that, we've got a lot of feedback about people coming to the town hall, but we wanted to remind them that they could also, even if they're coming to the town hall, go to the website and do the petition. So we've had overwhelming response to this, and the percent of individuals who have acknowledged the email it's 100% above what a normal campaign like that would be. So we know that there is major interest in this issue in Rockdale County.
Yeah.
So we know that the people of Rockdale County are concerned about this. We know that they're wanting this. But what we have a few people in this county who are trying to scare people into not wanting this. Right. Because the majority of people in Rockdale County want representation. They want somebody that lives in their neighborhood representing them on that board of commission. And that's what we want. But what we're getting these scare tactics. We're getting these misinformation and false information. Because I'll go so far, not only does this board give you misinformation, they outright lie to you.
They are out and out lying. In order to keep the status quo, in order to keep their positions of power and authority and lack of responsibility and lack of accountability, they are outright lying, not just to the voters of Rockdale County, but to the legislators that are going to ultimately make this decision.
Alex, since you said that, 10 more emails.
Good. Keep it up. Thank you, Dan. Dan just said I did 3 times. Thank you, Dan. Let's keep it up. Barry says these morons could care less. And yeah, it's probably an accurate sentiment. But we can make them care. That's our power. We can make them care.
And I'm telling you guys, there are events that are ignition events. I believe that this event could be an ignition event that lights that powder keg. This could be that event when people see that they really don't represent me and they really don't care what I say. People do get upset when they find out that people aren't listening to them. It does get them upset.
Yeah.
It does get them upset.
Yeah. It's important to remember that there are a lot of people in Rockdale who aren't on the Rockdale voter email list. So send an email to your friends. Do a bulk email yourself to your friends who live in Rockdale. Send them the information and let them know what Charlotte said. Even if the county decide to be extremely spiteful about this and exact their financial vengeance on us, it's equal to $5.50 per person. It should save us at least 40 grand a year. Quite frankly, is what it should save us. But if they're going to be spiteful about it and make sure that it costs us $500,000, that's $5.50 per person. That is well worth it to go from a system of zero accountability that we currently have to a system with accountability across the board. Let me explain that. Your elected representative, the person elected in your district, will be directly accountable to you. You know who to go to. You know who to hold responsible. You know who to hold accountable if things start going wrong. The county manager is directly accountable to the Board of Commissioners. They know who to go to, and they know who to hold accountable if things start to go wrong. And the employees are directly accountable to the county manager. He knows who to go to, and he knows who to hold responsible if things start to go wrong. It's a system we just don't have at the moment, and it's a system that they don't want us to have, and it's incumbent on us now at this point to reach out to these other two, or to try to convince these other two. And feel free to use a lot of the language that we've used tonight regarding representation, regarding transparency, regarding accountability, regarding the numbers. The fact that it will only cost more money if the county make it cost more money out of spite. And the fact that even if it does cost more money, it's $5.50 per person. That doesn't require a millage rate.
It would be worth the investment, Alex.
To get actual representation, it would be well worth the investment. People are sending their emails. Thank you. We
Oh my
appreciate
God,
it.
they're killing it, Al. We are killing the emails right now. I would say, Al, but we're going to get 100 emails sent in by the time period of this show. We'll probably have 100 emails sent.
Yeah.
So
And
so they're going to get a lot of emails, and then we're actually going to live stream the show tomorrow night. I'm going to live stream it from this week from Rockdale. So it'll be streamed on my Facebook page and my YouTube page. So I'm going to be doing that through Restream at the event tomorrow. So we're gonna do that. I'm going to get some assistance from Ms. Corliss Turner is going to help me with that because I'm going to be hosting the event. So she's going to help me with that and set my phone up for me so we can broadcast that. But we want you to be we actually want so many people coming. We can't all fit in the building.
right.
That's what we want. We need to send a message to these legislators. And you know what? When you send numbers like that, and then we'd say that if you don't support this, then next time we're coming after your job, they listen to that. That's
Right.
that they listen to fear and intimidation too. To be honest, that's the only thing that motivates them. To be honest with you, Alex,
And that's the responsibility of the voter. That's why. Listen, it may not be polite to strike fear and intimidate your elected representatives, but if they're not representing you, that's the message you have to send. You send them an ultimatum. You do what we want, or we'll remove you from your position. Simple as that.
and they don't need. I'm going to talk about this a minute, Alex. So I actually think the 16.5% is too high of a salary. I would like to see that drop down to 10%, which would take the salary to under $20,000. I don't think that someone should be running for those offices so that that's a primary source of income. That to hold that office, you need to have, in my opinion, prove that you're successful in whatever avenue of life that you live in or work in. You need to be successful so that money is just compensating you from whatever your time. It's not to make a living. So when we have people who depend on those salaries to make a living, we're in trouble. We are in trouble if you're depending on that 30-some thousand dollars to be a portion of your income that you have to survive. Then the citizens of Rockdale County are in trouble.
Right.
Because then these individuals become subject to being bribed and taking kickbacks. Because I was talking to some former elected officials, and they were telling me, that you get approached all the time, but they didn't feel they needed to, and they turned that stuff down. The individuals I was talking to were wealthy. They were wealthy individuals, Alex, who had the luxury of turning kickbacks and bribes down because they were wealthy. But you take somebody who doesn't have two nickels to rub together, and they're in that situation, and they get offered $20,000 to look the other way. Most likely, they're going to take $20,000 and look the other way.
Let's make it clear that we're not alleging that's currently happening. Let's make that clear.
It's hypothetical.
It's purely hypothetical. But draw your own conclusions at the end of the day. Yeah, Larry, in my opinion, it's imperative that this pass. It's imperative that we change the way that we govern Rockdale County. It's imperative that we change the way we represent the voters of Rockdale County. It's imperative. We haven't even talked about the ethics board that goes, the citizen ethics board that goes along with this, which is absolutely, and by the way, something we were promised. We were promised a citizens finance ethics board. It never came to pass. Oz Nesbitt said, "We heard you loud and clear." Never came to pass because
Terminology.
Love,
what did he say? He said, "I heard you."
Yeah.
He didn't say, "I listened to you." He said, "I heard you."
Yeah.
Hearing is just noise. It's just noise.
Yeah.
He heard
you loud
noise.
and clear. Heard you loud and clear.
But you're right, Alex. Even if this 5-commission thing would pass, right? The current people that are there that would maybe run for these seats in 2 years, we don't need to reelect Nesbitt or Washington. They need to go away because they are wrong for Rockdale. They are just point blank wrong for Rockdale. And I don't have a problem saying that
Well, they oppose this legislation. They are absolutely wrong for
wrong for
Rockdale.
Rockdale.
They
They
oppose
all,
you. Yeah, they oppose voters. They oppose voters having actual representation.
these are two people you can go back and look at their history. Before they were elected, they were 5 commission touters. Before they were elected, they both touted having 5 commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
What changed? They got elected and they saw the power of the 3.
Yeah, it's a desperate bid to keep hold of power, is what
They
it
got
is.
elected and saw the power of the 3.
Yeah, they're willing
That's
to
what happened.
they're willing to say and do anything in order to keep hold of that power, up to and including invoking white supremacy.
And threatening to raise your taxes.
This is a measure that's being driven by a black female representative, being supported by the Rockdale voter group, which is a excellent demographic makeup of the county. Are they calling the Rockdale voter group a white supremacist organization?
They're also, but you got to remember, not only the Rockdale voter, but the Voices for Rockdale also, right?
Mm-hmm.
The founder of Voices for Rockdale, African-American female, right?
What they're saying is that here's what they're saying. They're saying that Corliss Turner is the black face of white supremacy in Rockdale County. I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed. This board, they have no shame. No shame whatsoever. This board of commissioners, they oppose you getting elected representation, and they're using lies, fear, and intimidation and threats of retribution to do it.
When you don't have 2 nickels to rub together unless you've got those jobs, it's desperation.
Absolutely.
And I don't mind saying that part because that is accurate. Without those jobs, they don't have 2 nickels to rub together. Mm-hmm. So they are desperate to keep those elected positions. And a desperate person backed into the corner will do anything to survive. And that's what we've got them in survival mode right now, Alex. They are fighting for survival. But this is the thing about it, and this was what Rockdale citizens should realize. You're fighting for survival. Mm-hmm. Because they're getting ready to tax you out of this county and out of your home. Senior citizens, well, they said that nonsense last year about we're not wanting to take anybody's home. At the very moment that the chairman said that, they were having a tax sale next door, Alex.
If they follow through with these bonds in this economy, our county we will be filing bankruptcy. In I'm going to say in less than 2 years, the county will be bankrupt if they follow through with this bond issuance in this economy. In less than 2 years, we will have no choice but to file bankruptcy. And that is a mess. That will be an absolute disaster.
Well, Alex, they already said they had to raise the millage rate to raise some money to be fiscally sound enough to borrow money.
To be able to issue the bonds. Yeah.
They said that. Well, you and I didn't say that.
No, they said that from the podium. They said it from the podium. They had to do that $2 million raise. It was what was it? A 1 point millage rate increase. They had to do that in order to prove they were credit worthy to issue the bonds.
And that's what they said. That's what this came out of this commission.
Of this board is not where it should be. Current mismanagement of funds.
Current mismanagement of funds from our famed white supremacist former finance director. I don't know what it is about Oz Nesbitt, but he has the gift, the ability to just rub me the wrong way, Larry. And I feel sorry
Alex,
for so many people.
This thing about it, was it 2 years ago they sent those folks to Greenville, South Carolina on a retreat. Now they were sending them to Columbus, Georgia for a retreat. It's in Georgia, but it's still yet there. Why not just buy their lunch and send them to Costly Mill and have some classes over there, right? bring the instructor to a costly meal. You built the $1 million building over there, so use the facility that you built. Just go over there and spend a couple of days and camp out, and not spend $100,000 going somewhere doing a bunch of shenanigans.
Right.
But they don't say, that's what I mean. They don't care to spend your money on nonsense that they want to, but they sure going to fight to try to not spend your money to do something you want them to do.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And that's five. And we've already proven and shown how you can expand the board and actually do it cheaper than what they have a 3-person board right now.
Yeah,
you can do that.
I don't want to imagine what they're paying lobbyists right now to lobby against this, because they're paying lobbyists. We have a lobbyist.
No, they're on retainer, and I'll tell you, they're attacking, and because they're right now working the system. If it does get the signatures, they're working the system behind the scenes to try to kill the bill.
Yeah, they would spend $500,000 to kill this, and then put a millage, an increase,
and then raise your
millage rate.
So we taxed you to defeat that bill.
Yeah, then raise the millage rate, because that's the kind of spiteful actions you can expect from this Board of Commissioners. Let's start wrapping this up, Larry. The rockdalevoter.com. Head there. Again, if you've already been there, go there again. It's not going to hurt. Send it to your friends. The folks that don't know about it, who live in Rockdale, send it to them. Share it on your social media pages, because right now we have until what time? 7 p.m. on Tuesday?
Yeah, end of business Tuesday, end of
We
legislative.
have till the end of business on Tuesday to try to get these, at least one of these holdouts to come around.
All they need is one. Senator Anderson, let me tell you right now, let's commend the individuals who are supporting this. Let's give them props, okay, Alex?
Yes.
So you have Representative Rhonda Taylor and Representative Angela Moore, who introduced the legislation as co-sponsors, and they have signed on to the legislation. Senator Tanya Anderson said she supports the legislation and will carry it once it comes to the Senate side when it gets the signatures. So we have these 3 representatives who are willing to do right by the citizens of Rockdale County, and we need to give them credit for that.
Yep.
And then we have 2 representatives who need a little bit of pressure. We have Doreen Carter and we have Deshaun Kendrick, who need to realize they need to do right by the citizens of Rockdale County, or they could be the individuals that light that match, that ignites that keg.
Yes, sir. The rockdalevoter.com. Share it everywhere you can. Email it to your friends and family. Get as many, and again, tell them as many times as they can. Send that email, not just once, as many times as they can. And I'll leave you with the words of the great man over Larry's shoulder there. Let us move forward together. We'll get it done if we move forward together. Larry, thank you for coming on tonight, brother. Appreciate
Alex, this was important, and it's important that we combine resources and reach as many people as possible.
I agree. Guys, thank you. Tune in next week to Larry, This Week from Rockdale. Tune into his show next week at 8 p.m. And don't forget the town hall meetings. Don't forget your emails, therockdalevoter.com. Larry, I'll see you next week, brother. Have fun. And I'll see This Week in Rockdale the next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.